Welcome back to the Not Your Mama podcast. This is your host, Kelly Bryant, and I'm joined today by Jacqueline Joy. I'm so excited Jacqueline is here with us today. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Jacqueline, would you mind sharing your pronouns and what emoji you most identify as?
Cat just jumped off me. I go by she, her, and emoji would be I like the little kissy face one because I'm always like, or the blushing one. I also like the one that's like with the teeth that go like, like
The super big smile.
yeah, the super big like smile.
Do you do kissy with a wink or do you just do kissy?
I think both. Yeah, I like them both. I also like the one. Okay, it's not really like a face emoji, but I love the stars because
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Okay, so
always like,
Jacqueline is just like so positive and happy. Like that's the takeaway here is just like
yeah,
all of the like, I love everything emojis. That's just what we like.
yeah.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and if whatever you want to share as an introduction to why you're here talking with us today.
Okay, well, my name is Jacqueline. As you said, I live in Montreal in Canada, and I lived in Calgary, which is like a few provinces over, a couple of years ago. I was there for like 8 years, and I moved back here to Montreal for an ex, and like we got back together, and I was 34 at the time, and I was always just like very comfortable like in my 9 to 5 job and like just looking for like the person I'm gonna be with and like settle down and like have kids and like all of that. So when we reconnected, because I had been single for a long time, when we reconnected, I jumped on that, like didn't even think about it, just moved back here to be with him. And we were together for 3 years. And even though there were so many red flags and like I knew he probably wasn't like the best person for me, I was like 34, like I said at the time, and I was just like desperate to make something work. And I, even though, and like he didn't even want kids, but I was like, oh, he'll get over that.
Desperate was the word that
Yeah,
you used. Desperate to make it
yeah,
work. That's
desperate.
always a really great sign.
Yes, it's great. Yes, it's great. And I was very codependent on him. Like I have to say, like it's probably like the way I grew up. Like I grew up without my father in my life. Like I only met him when I was 25. So I've like always had a little bit of daddy issues. And so I was just like desperate, yes, to have a family and all of that. And I ignored all the red flags and I just thought he would change his mind and I ignored everything. And then 3 years later, when I was 37, I kind of got blindsided. I probably put an immense amount of pressure on him. I won't even lie. I won't even go there. Like
Sure.
he did a lot of things wrong, but I'm not gonna like say I was at no fault in that. Um, and then I was blindsided and he left me for someone a lot younger. And I was kind of like left all of a sudden now, like 37 now, and I was almost gonna be 38. And uh my first thought is like I need to go out there and find someone else because my clock is ticking, I'm getting old. But it was also a chance like now that I can meet someone who wants to have a baby. But I like kind of started dating, but who wants to date after going through that? And I just like wanted no part of dating, but I was like, but I really want to have a baby. um and so like I kind of like realized like the missing piece in like this whole like relationship, finding a relationship in men and like being codependent was I was missing like this relationship with myself. Like I was like missing that missing piece of like healing from my past and like why I looked for certain men and like why I became so codependent on men and like things and people for my self-worth. And so I just went on like this journey within myself, which kind of just happened by accident. And kind of when you start doing that kind of work, everything else just comes. Like, courses came into my life, and I ended up taking one course, and I like figured out a few things. And then I realized that I wanted to help other women figure this out. And I took another course. I became a certified empowerment coach. Um, so like that's something I really love. I love helping women like figure out what's holding them back from like uncover what's holding them back from figuring out how fabulous they are, that your worth comes from just who you are waking up in the morning, not from how
Mhm.
you look or from your weight or from all of that crap. And um and then but still the baby thing was still like lingering there. And I just but I really when I figured out this relationship with myself, when I really became at peace with that and I really figured out who I was, I really realized that like I didn't really want to go out there and look for someone just yet, but I really wanted to have a baby. And now I'm 39. So I just decided to just go for it, feel the fear and do it anyways, and just decided I could do it by myself. So that's where
I
I'm at
love
right
it.
now.
So how long did it take you to go from like breakup, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I want to have kids. And now I have to find someone, to this like full circle moment of like, wait, I can do this myself. Was that like 2 years?
Um, I'd say maybe a little bit less, but probably 37, 39. So it was probably about 2 years until I did the procedure.
Mhm.
But it was about a year when I like realized I really wanted to do it. But then, then I thought when I realized I wanted to do it, I'm like, okay, well now I have to wait until I have better finances and my business takes off
Mhm.
and like and all of this is in place. And when that wasn't happening the way I wanted to do it, I'm like, well now what? And then I was just like, fuck it all. Like I'm just
Yeah.
gonna just do it and the rest will get figured out.
Yep. I mean, and this is true. Like I say this to everyone who's like, yeah, we typically it's we, right?
Mhm.
Like we're kind of thinking about having kids. I'm like, there's not gonna be a right time. Like just
Yeah.
to be clear, because you're gonna think it's the right time, and then something else is gonna happen. So it's just like like at some point you just have to. What does Elizabeth Gilbert say? Like you just have to get the tattoo on your face. Like just
Do it.
it's not. Yeah, it's not gonna happen the way that you picture, the way that you. I mean, I think it's so interesting, this like that's a quick transition. Like that's a short amount of time to go from like, oh, I 100% need someone else and it's this guy who doesn't want kids, to, oh yeah, like I'm going to do this by myself. Like that's decisive.
Well, like the need for wanting a child and a baby and like that need was more than it was for having a man in my
Mhm.
life, like kind of
Mhm.
thing. And I think it's more than that. It's more than having a baby. Like I'm not really close to very much everyone in my family, really. I don't have a relationship with my father so much. I try with my mom, but I think I'm just really wanted to create that family that
Mhm.
I tried to do it with like my ex and I tried to do it with other men and whatever. And I just want to create my own family
Mhm.
unit kind of thing. So
Yeah.
there's so much into it. But yeah, it's been my biggest dream to be a mom ever since I was a little girl. Like I've always been the little girl that plays with dolls and love babies and love my little cousins and like it's just something I've always wanted to do. And now almost going to be 40 and it's kind of like crazy to think it still hasn't happened yet. So
Yeah.
it's like now or never.
Do you think, through your 20s, your 30s, like, was it always there? Like, you were always like, maybe this guy is going to be the one who I want
Uh-huh.
to. Okay.
Yes, it
That's,
was always there.
that is not fun. That does not sound like a fun ride to just go through that constant, like, maybe it's you. No, it's not. Maybe it's you.
Yeah.
No, it's not. What was that like?
Well, it was horrible and like you're always like kind of envious of other people and like what they have and you see everybody else around you having like I'm always like the great friend who's at like all
Mm-hmm.
my friends' baby showers, in their weddings and like I'm Auntie Jackie to like all of their kids
Mm-hmm.
and it's and like I don't know, I think I'm a great catch. But like
I think of it. Yes, of course.
besides all that, like I'm
Because
not
your worth is inherent and you
yeah.
wake up every day worthy.
Yeah, like I'm not mourning like oh my god, like I used to be like that. Like when I was in my
Mm-hmm.
20s, it was just like where is he, like, and why
Mm-hmm.
isn't he coming, and like all of that. Um, but
But there's something so empowering in realizing, like, wait, I can be good on my own. And that's like,
yes,
for me, I don't think that the reason I wanted to talk to you for this episode is like, I don't think this is about telling women who are 40 that they have the option to have kids alone. Cause at least I hope that culturally we're getting to a point that people kind of know that. But I
yeah,
want people to realize at 25, at 28,
yes,
like, you can always have kids by yourself. And
oh yeah,
maybe you do decide to wait because you're like, maybe he's out there, but there's such a different energy to being
oh,
like, I'm dating because I want to date. I'm dating because I like this person
exactly.
versus I'm dating because, like, oh my God, I have to have a baby and this is the only way to do it.
it takes off so much pressure when you just take off that, like, you know, like I'm excited to, I haven't really been focused on dating right now, but I'm excited to like go on a date when I eventually feel like dating again and I don't have that pressure anymore of
Mhm.
like just going on a date. But I'm part of a group like on Facebook of single mothers by choice, and there's
Mm.
such a different, there's like such a different age group in there. Like not everybody's 39 and 40. Like there's even some like 20 and mid 20s, 30s like doing it,
Mhm.
and because that's just what they wanted to do.
Right. I love
So
that. I
it's
think,
for anybody. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just so important that we realize, like, I talk to my clients about this a lot. Like, often we ask ourselves questions like, what am I going to do if this guy leaves me? What am I going to do if I don't find someone who wants to have kids? But we don't answer the question. And
Yeah.
there's so much power in just like, well, answer the question. Like, make yourself. And so I don't put up with that bullshit. I'm like, if you're going to sit there and be like, well, I don't know what to do about da 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 da, I'm like, what's the answer? What are you going to do? Like, tell me.
Exactly. Like, yeah, figure it out and like take matters into your own hands. And I wish I would have done this earlier. I
Mhm.
wish I would have done it like, you know, I wish I wouldn't have spent 3 years with someone, but it took that relationship. It took like
Right.
getting to like the bottom and
To
like
get you, yeah.
to get me like, yeah. But yeah, I wish I would have done it a lot earlier. I would have done it a lot earlier.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's obviously like a very big decision. And it seems like pretty much you kind of like went through this journey, you decided that you were going to do this, and you said, okay, now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was
Uh,
just like, and I was just like, everything had to happen right away. I was just like, you know, like, yeah, when I decided I wanted to do it, I was like, get me the appointment. Like, let's go. Let's do this.
So tell me a little bit about, I mean, obviously we haven't explicitly said like, okay, you can be a single parent by choice. There's a lot of ways to do that, right? So some people will pursue adoption. Some
Yeah.
people will find uh surrogate, or they'll find a donor egg or donor sperm, or they'll have someone who they know donate. Or so how did you kind of navigate, like, that is a lot of decisions.
Yeah, there's so many different things, and like being part of the group that I'm in, you see like all the different ways that people have done it. There's so many different things that you can do. First you need to get your fertility tested. Like that's
Mm,
what the great thing about that. Usually when couples are trying to have a baby, they'll only start investigating
mm,
their fertility when it's been like a year or 6 months,
right.
or I think it's a year or something like that. So what's really cool about this is it's like right away when you're coming as a single person, like the first thing they do is test out your
Mhm.
fertility. So I thought that was really cool. And
That's an
so,
interesting thing. I've actually heard from same-sex couples that they still have to do that 1 year wait.
oh, really? But
Yes. Like,
how? How is that even possible?
that, like, that's for whatever reason. And I don't know if that's like an insurance thing that you have to like establish with a doctor and be trying for a year. But I've heard that. I've never looked into it, but I have heard that same-sex couples have that issue of like, you can decide that you're like, okay, we'd like to have kids, and then you have to wait for a year.
But I just don't understand how it would work in that case. It's not like you can try for a
No,
year.
you
You need
can't
the
try.
you
You
need their
have to
help.
wait. You just have to wait.
Wow.
That's what I've heard. If
Maybe it's
there's
different in
any,
Canada. I don't know.
maybe not in Canada. If there's any same-sex couples who know details about this, please feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram and I will correct the record.
Yeah, yeah, I would like to know too that. But I like, yeah, for me, I just got a referral from a general practitioner to like for the fertility. My friend had gone with this clinic, so I wanted to go there. So I got a referral, and it took a bit to get the appointment, maybe a couple of months, and then I've never actually met the doctor because it was COVID. It's
Mm,
just been like on the phone.
mhm.
So, but she was really, really nice. And we had a really good conversation about it and like what I wanted to do. And she's like, you just want to get pregnant, right? Like you just like, no matter what. Like, yeah, that's all I want. Like, that's what I want. And we had to go in for an ultrasound and blood test just to see how everything was. And I mean, I knew what I was going to expect. I am almost 40.
Mhm.
So I had like 9 eggs or something like that. Like it was like, she's like, that's good for your age. It's like not the best, but it was okay. So I just like I took matters into my own hands until I had to get like a vaccination before, and I had to like there was like a couple of months in between the time when it would like officially start. So I like took matter. I went into like full on like research mode, and like I looked up all the things that I should be taking and what I should stop eating and what I should eat. So I went into all of that for like the next couple of months. Um, and then it came the time,
Did
and
you ultimately decide to do IVF? That was the route
oh,
that you
sorry, I
chose?
didn't even get into that. I meant to get. I did IUI,
Okay.
which is intrauterine insemination, which is
Mhm.
artificial insemination.
Mhm.
So you have to get a donor, like donor sperm, and
Mhm.
I went through a sperm bank.
Okay.
There, I've heard so many things about, and I see it like in the groups, like they know donors, and like I even saw one that on you on TikTok. I follow these a same-sex couple that did
Mhm.
that with an IUI, and they got their donor from Facebook dating. Like they put an they put an ad on Facebook dating, like what they were looking for, and they got someone and they had a baby. So there's so many different things you can
There's
do
I will
if you want
tell
to be
you,
creative. Yeah.
I swear, the moment, because I'm currently pregnant, the moment that I got pregnant,
Congratulations.
thank you. I started getting ads on Instagram, story ads of like same-sex couples being like, we're interested in adopting. I'm like, oh my God. Like
What?
people are like swooping in to take
Or
this
they want
kid.
to take you. Oh my God.
I'm like, hey, there is supply and demand. So you know
Yes.
what? People are taking it into their own hands. I find it fascinating, the like idea of like advertising, because it's like an opportunity for people to, I mean, I'm imagining, right? Like you're like, okay, I didn't really want to be pregnant, whatever. And then you see this like
Oh,
family that
yeah.
you could give your child to. I'm like, that's much more appealing than just like adoption, which doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything, but like I was like, this is a new age.
It is. And like I was like speaking to a friend, and I was telling her how much like in Canada, IUI is like not so bad. It's covered like by our healthcare, but the sperm isn't. That's the only thing that really costs a lot of money. And I was speaking to a friend, and she's like, I know someone that they got, I don't know what it was at Gigi or whatever it was, like but they got it for free. Like they just had to, like they brought it. She's like, I think all they paid for was his gas to bring it over.
Oh, geez.
So like, oh, there's so many different things, but for me personally, I felt comfortable with just the sperm bank, and like,
Stranger, yes.
yeah, like, and also because with that, like you can see like everything about their history, their mother, their grandfather, their great
Mhm.
grandfather. You can see every little thing about them, um, and they get tested for genetic disorders and like all of that. And you can choose to get an anonymous donor, whereas like in the future the child will not get to know anything about them.
Mhm.
I chose to go with someone who is not anonymous,
Mm.
so that my future child, if they ever want to, can
Could
find out about them.
pursue. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that typically opens up like after the child's 18. Is that right? I don't know how it is
Yes.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's after 18. But one of the things that I also had to do was talk to a psychologist
Mm.
before I officially started. And they just talk to you about like, like what you're getting into. And they talk to you about how you can like talk to the child about it one day. And there's so many
Mm.
books. I didn't even know. There's so many books that you can get that are about women who've had babies like this.
Mhm.
And how to like, you can read them to the stories to the baby when they're young. And so they always know like where they came from. Um, Another thing I wanted to say is a lot of people or might think, because I grew up without my father in my life.
Mhm.
Like I only met him when I was 25, and it was very hard on me, like not having a father in my life. And
Mhm.
a lot of people might wonder like why I would choose to do this if it was so hard on me not having my dad in my life.
Mhm.
Um, but for me, I think when it comes to that, my dad, like my mother had me with my dad, like hoping that he would be
Mhm.
there, and he chose to leave and he didn't want to be a part of it. So I always grew up with that abandonment thing,
Mhm.
like it's always really bothered me. I think for the difference for this, like if any women are worried about, how their babies are going to feel not having a father,
Mhm.
it's like you are doing it on your own because you have so much love
Mhm.
that you want to give to this baby, and it's not two people, it's you like wanting to love something so much that
Mhm.
you went out and did it yourself. And So I just want to put that out there that
I
it's not.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that there is something, it's a different story when it's, you know, he was supposed to want you and he left,
Yeah, exactly.
versus no, like your mom or whoever the single parent is loved you so much that they didn't need, you know, to
Yeah,
settle for some guy.
yeah, exactly.
That's I think that you're right. I mean, it's beautiful at least that there is so much more diversity in what families look like now. So I also think that that's a big part of it as well, that it's just like there's so many ways to build a family and to have a community, that this child's going to be loved by all of the people who call you Auntie Jackie as well.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. The support that I've gotten, I could even cry like thinking about it. I have like a private Facebook group that I have like for my when I started my business. And just like I'm very what's it called? I'm very upfront about everything
Mhm.
I'm doing in that group. So I've shared videos about like this whole process,
Mhm.
and the amount of support that I've gotten is
Mhm.
just so beautiful. Like I don't know what I would do without it. It's just been beautiful.
Yeah. So you told me before the call, I hope it's okay that I'm sharing this. You told me
Yeah.
before the call, you are in the waiting period. So you've had this procedure and you are waiting and you're not supposed to take a test. So this is a thing for anyone who doesn't know this. This is a thing with a lot of fertility procedures. It's like you have the procedure and then they're just like, it's like you're in the process of shaking the magic 8 ball and you're like waiting for the results to come up and you have to just wait. What does that feel like?
I was prepared for it. Like I thought I was prepared for it, but like I'm
You need the psychologist now.
yes, I do. Also I don't know. I also had a trigger shot. I don't know if you know anything about that. I had a trigger shot like right before the procedure, which it gets like the egg to move on out and get going. But it's basically a shot of pregnancy hormone. So
Mm-hmm.
like that's why they're like, don't take a test because you'll
Right.
test positive. So a lot of people will test out their trigger shots, like to see the pregnancy hormone, and then like when it gets out of the body, so then they know once it's out, that anything after that is a positive pregnancy test.
Mm-hmm.
So I stupidly, like when I was 7 days in, just took a test. I just wanted to see, and it was a little bit positive. Um, and then the next day was negative. So I know that the thing is out of my body now, but then it turned into like this everyday testing thing. 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days. Today is the 11th day. And yesterday I took the test and it was negative, and it was just so, it was so like, even though it's still 6 days before my period, like it's still
Right.
really
It's
early,
still too
but it was,
early.
to me, it was like, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm out.
For what it's worth, I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast. For what it's worth, I actually, when I got pregnant with my daughter, I knew I was pregnant, but I didn't know my cycle well enough to know where I was relative to my period. And I actually took a negative test before taking a positive test.
Okay.
And my husband thought I was insane because I took a negative test and I was like, no, I'm pregnant.
And how far along, how many days after
It was
ovulation
a
was that?
week apart
Okay.
that I actually took a positive test. So
That's the thing. And as I just feel like there's so many things I'm feeling like, I also am taking progesterone. So I don't know if you know about
yeah,
that,
you're
but
taking all, yeah, you feel
you
all different
you
than
just
normal.
feel like everything, like my boobs are sore, I'm
Mm.
peeing so often, I am like just I don't feel like my normal self, like I'm hungry, I'm just tired. Like I was sitting
Yeah.
here waiting for this podcast, I'm just like sitting here like just
Gonna,
I'm
yep.
like, I hope I stay
That's
awake.
how I knew I was pregnant. No, the two symptoms that I knew I was pregnant, I was in the process of eating a meal and I was actually like falling asleep into my food. And second symptom was there was a baptism at my church. I'm not a sentimental person and I did not know these people at all.
We're crying.
And I'm crying. I'm like, what? I don't like
Oh my god,
so
I've been crying so much, but I'm a crier naturally, so
yeah, it's wild. I mean, the whole fertility journey is a very challenging one emotionally, and I don't think that people know that or expect that. And the other thing that I find frustrating from the perspective of a coach is that there's so little empathy for it that
Mm-hmm.
it's
Oh my
just
God.
like, oh,
Yeah.
well, you chose this.
Yeah. And I
Man
hear so many
up.
stories. I hear so many stories of like what I've been watching, because now when you're in the 2 week wait, all you're doing is watching YouTube videos of like other women in the 2 week wait. And like I hear so many stories of like when the fertility clinic calls them and like says like they're not pregnant, and they always say like some of them are like just really no empathy, and like just, I mean, if I worked in that job, I'd be like they're going through so much, and
Yeah.
there's people, there's no empathy for them. Then I feel guilty because it's my first try. Like it's my first try doing this, and I feel like I don't, like I shouldn't be worried. Like it's only my first try, and like there's people who
Right.
have been trying for so long, and like I shouldn't be upset over my first try and like
Mhm.
all of that. But
Presumably you've mapped that out with the doctor, I assume, of like, this is what we
oh
do first, and then this, and then this. Is that, do you have that kind of pre-planned, or is it just we try one thing and then we decide?
well, you mean like if this
If
doesn't
this,
work?
right, exactly.
Well, I don't think I would try this again, the same
Mhm.
procedure again. Usually the IUI procedures, they like it with each try, it gets better chance.
Hmm.
But I mean, I really wanted to work the first try,
Of
but
course. Of
because
course.
it's not like, it's not like I could just try again next month, like next
Right.
cycle. Like
Yeah.
I only ordered one vial, and
You got to buy more sperm.
I gotta buy more sperm, and the person that I chose is not available anymore. And it's like slim pickings, man, out there with the sperm. I've looked, especially for Canada for some reason. Especially with COVID, I guess they're not like
May
they're
I
not.
ask, like, what did you look for?
I was looking for someone who was tall. I just wanted someone tall because if I have a boy, I want him to be tall. I didn't really care about hair color
Watch,
or
you
eye
now have a
color.
6'4" girl.
Sorry.
I said, watch, now you're gonna have a 6'4"
I
girl.
know, and I'm already tall. I'm 5'7". I know it's true, right? I shouldn't even care about that, but I didn't
You
really
can
care
care
about.
about whatever you want.
I know. I know. I didn't care about hair color or eye color.
Mhm.
Obviously I wanted someone who's like would be like the same like nationality kind of me, like
Mm,
just Caucasian, I
mhm.
guess, or mixed. I don't know. There's not much else I was like really looking for. Like,
I have to imagine that some people must get like very picky.
yeah.
I have no idea. Um,
I guess looking at it is like taking online dating to a whole new level. Like, okay, I won't lie. Yes, I have been picky. Like, you see pictures, and
oh,
I'm
do
like,
you
no,
see pictures?
yeah, I see pictures. Yeah, you do see
Oh,
pictures. So I'm like, no, no, not him.
so you could like theoretically run into this person on the street and be like,
I don't think so, because I think a lot of them are like, I'm in Canada, like I said, and these are most of the people are all in the States. The only
oh,
thing that
really?
was like really like weird for me was like the person that I did choose is like really young. So
Oh,
I kind of
eh,
felt like, I know, I just kind of felt like a little bit of a, I don't know.
sure, you're an IUI cougar. Like,
Yeah, an IUI cougar. But hey, when they're young, that's when they
I
have the
know
good
the
sperm.
sperm is healthier. It's
Yeah,
higher count. Like that makes sense.
yeah.
Um, so I want to talk a little bit about the parenthood side of this. So we've talked about like getting pregnant. Are there things that you're doing now, choices that you're making that are designed to help make your life easier once you are a single parent?
Well, like I like my bit like trying to get my business going as an empowerment coach. Like I'm really trying to get it going, and like and make that, because I do have like my 9 to 5 job,
Mm,
but I want to like create a life where I don't need to work 9 to 5, and I
mm,
can like have like the freedom. I think I would like to move back to Calgary, like where my friend, like all my friends are there.
mm,
So I'd like to be around, like my mother's here, but my friends are all there, and they have kids, and like I feel
mhm.
like it takes a village and like that support system. So I really would like to be there. So a lot of this is just figuring out my business and like really trying to get that going.
Mhm.
but it's been hard. It's not the easiest thing starting a new business.
No, it is not. And it is not, it's not quick either.
No, it's not. And I thought it was. You think that you launch something and it's gonna just be like bing bang boom.
No.
So that's why I was like, I'm not waiting for this baby thing. I'm just gonna do it because I feel, and I also feel like if I am pregnant, it'll just be like that drive to like really get it really going, like even more than I have been.
Mhm. Totally.
So
So, but you've got the 9 to 5 as well. That's, I mean,
yeah, of course, yeah.
whew. But they have leave in Canada, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah, a
nice.
year. Yes. A year maternity leave. I just like I already have like so many people who have reached out to me. I'm saving this for you and I have this for you. Cause like I'm probably the last one to have kids and everybody
That's
already
sweet.
has me. So like I'm excited. I feel like I have so much support. And when it comes, I don't know what it means to, I don't know what motherhood, like I don't know. I feel like I'm just gonna figure it all out.
Yep, that's all anyone is doing is just figuring it all out. Anyone who thinks they know.
I already deal with this cat. This cat's attacking me. Like I already deal with him.
For anyone who's not watching the video, what is the cat's name?
He's Enzo.
Enzo is amazing. Enzo is just like
He's attacking my arm and
off screen. He wants to be here, but he, wants us to want it too. Enzo is the best part of this.
yeah, I know it doesn't compare a cat to a baby, but I got him when he was a very little baby. Like it's a little bit the same, like a little bit.
I mean, what have you kind of thought about what pregnancy will feel like? Do you, based on, do you have siblings?
No, I'm
Okay.
an only child. So that's why it's like
so you have really no idea. You haven't seen how your genetics play out with
no.
pregnancy and childbirth. Interesting.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to be pregnant. Like I know a lot of people don't want to, like they don't like it, or I just can't wait. Like it's just like, and if you talk to anybody who knows me, like this is my biggest like dream. Like it's just like I just can't. I just want, like I want it so much. Like, and it's been so hard like these 2 weeks.
The other thing I always want to tell people, because I work with a fair number of people who are going through various fertility treatment. No matter how hard you try and no matter how much you want to be pregnant, you still get to bitch. 100%. You still get to be like, whether it's through the pregnancy, whether it's when you have a newborn who's not sleeping, like the whole time, you still are 100% allowed to be like, and also this sucks.
Yeah. Yes, I know that. I know it's gonna suck sometimes, especially being a single mother and doing it by myself. But yeah, I already have, like, you see so many TikTok videos of like when they have newborn babies and like the voice, like the songs, and like, have you seen like those when people have babies and like the different TikTok videos when people, I don't know. I already have all the sounds saved, like when I'm pregnant and I'm gonna like do all of those things. Like I have like nursery stuff like picked out and like put aside. I already have like the app going that tells me how far along I am. Like I've been doing like this whole 2 weeks, I've been doing like fertility yoga and fertility meditations, and like
I love it.
I'm just trying to embody the whole thing. I've had 2 people who are like, I have 2 friends that are very intuitive, like read cards, and they've told me I'm pregnant. So that's in my head. So, I don't know. It's like
you're in the shit right now. Like you are
yes.
so deep. By the way, it is very generous of you to join us at this stage because
I
this
was
is
so
like
excited to do it today. I really needed to talk. Also, I live by myself. I'm being single. It's like you just go into like today before we did this, I went on like this 2-hour walk by the water and I just sat there and I just tried to like, decompress myself.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you need to get yourself like a meal train. Like you got to get people feeding you as soon as you find out you're pregnant. Cause I asked my husband the other day and I said, because I am not a good pregnant person. I'm miserable the whole time. And I'm like, do you think would you rather me be pregnant and you have to take care of me at this level, or would you rather be pregnant yourself?
And what did he say?
His take was, I think if I was pregnant, I would still have to do everything.
Oh my God, I didn't think about that. Like, I'll have nobody here. Like, it's true. Like, when I'm pregnant, I'll like, nobody will be going to get me ice cream in the middle of the night.
Oh, the ice cream in the middle of the night is the least of it. It's
I
the
know.
like breakfast. But I
Okay.
will say the upside of single parenthood is that the whole first trimester, both pregnancies, he makes me this like beautiful, like, he meal plans, he grocery shops, he cooks, and he
Wow.
puts it in front of me and I'm like, that just
Is
doesn't
he,
look good.
are they available on Amazon, men like that?
But I'm like, hey, if you're
Yeah.
single, you get to every day be like,
Yeah.
what do I feel like eating? I'm not
Yeah,
going to offend
exactly.
anyone. If I just want to have another
True.
bowl of cereal, have another bowl of cereal. No one is like offended that I've turned my nose up once again at the beautiful dinner that they made me.
And also, like, I just like today, I just wanted to eat everything, and like nobody's looking at me and judging me. So there's that too.
There's that. It's, I mean, you don't have to fight anyone for the space in the bed or the
Yeah,
pillows.
only my cat, but
Enzo's gonna have a rude awakening. I can tell you
yeah,
that
I
right
know.
now.
Oh yeah, I think he will too. He's very like clingy over me, so we'll see.
I don't get that at all. That doesn't come through, Jacqueline.
I'm surprised he has to try to like climb up here. He usually does that on my chest, but he's okay. He's gone
He's
now.
doing great.
But
Tell me, is there anything else about this whole journey that you want to share? Like, maybe it's if someone knows someone else who's going through a similar process, what is like the worst thing to say and what is the best thing to say?
what is the worst thing to say? Um, I haven't had anybody say anything. I think the worst thing is like one person just said to me like, "How are you ever good? Like, how are you? Do you know how expensive kids are?
Mm.
Like, you're not. Are you sure that you'll be able to do this? Like, I don't know. I don't probably don't have like what I need right now for like for them and
But you'll
whoever can
figure it out.
like who can ever think that they'll have enough money for their kids or whatever, but you just figure it out. Like uh, if it's something that you want so much, like that's like probably the worst thing. Another thing is like, aren't you worried about what they're going to think about you and there's no father or something like that? That's another thing that I don't really like to hear, but nobody's really said that to me, maybe like one person. But for the most part, it's just been so much positive support. um, if I'm pregnant right now, I'll be having the baby when I turn 40, like in the same month, give or take a week. So that's so exciting for me, like if that's the case. Um, and I just want to say, like, you get to have your dreams and like you get to have what you want in life. Like, you don't need to wait for the right circumstances or the right person or when you have enough money or when you look a certain way. Like, you get to have what you want just because you want what you want. And if you want it with the 10, then go after it with the 10 and don't let anything stop you.
Amazing. Snaps to that. I will amen right there. Um, where can if people, I don't know how much of your journey you're sharing publicly, if people want to follow along, is there somewhere that they can join you?
Yeah, I have a Facebook group on Facebook. It's called You Are a Goddess. That's my Facebook group, You Are a Goddess, and I share like everything in there. My Facebook name is Jacqueline Joy, just like my regular Facebook, and my website is also jacquelinejoy.com.
Amazing. We will link all of that in the show notes. People can go check out what happens. If you send us an update before the show is out, we will include what happened and what your next
Yeah.
steps are if you want to. Um,
Yes, of course.
and I just want to say thank you for doing this with us. I feel like this is a very vulnerable space that you're in, and I appreciate you being open to sharing with us and to creating more awareness to all of the many ways that people go through parenthood.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's so important to me to talk about this and like to let other women know that that they can do it too, and there's no shame around it, and I'm here to support them if they need any help.
I'm proud of you. So, like, huge props to any and every human on this planet who chooses to just fucking do it.
Exactly. Just fucking do it.
On that note, Jacqueline, thank you so much for being here. And we will update the show with what happens.
Yes, I can't wait to give you a positive update or whatever
going to be
update
a
there is.
positive update
Yes.
either way,
No,
because
either way, of course, because I won't be stopping there. I'll keep going until we have
exactly.
a positive test.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.